And we're grateful and thankful to Allah that we have been guided to have access to the knowledge of Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah, which is the key to paradise, and it is the life of Al-Islam. Continuing on with Collection of Goodness, which is a compilation of lessons that were given by the great scholar and Imam of Ahlus Sunnah, Al-Shaykh Abdullah, the son of Muhammad Al-Harari, Rahmatullahi alayhi, who was a great wali and a great scholar, and a wali of his caliber is rare and does not appear often. So we got to the lesson 40, which is page 202, clarifying the prohibition of riba. So the author said, this lesson was given by Al-Hafiz, the scholar of Islamic law, Shaykh Abdullah, the son of Muhammad Al-Abdari, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy upon him, on the 4th of Muharram in the year 1397. Then Shaykh Nizar, the son of Rashid Al-Halabi, gave it, transmitting it from him. Shaykh Samir, the son of Sami Al-Qadi, and others heard it from him. Shaykh Abdullah, may Allah have vast mercy upon him, said, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. To Him belong the endowments and proper commendations. May Allah Ta'ala raise the rank of our Master Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his Muslim relatives, and protect his nation from that which the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam fears for it. Thereafter, Allah Ta'ala revealed in Surah Al-Baqarah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين, which means, O you Muslims, fear Allah, and fulfill all the obligations and refrain from all the sins without exception, and leave out al-riba. Yani if you were believers, if you are believers. It has been narrated from the route of Ibn Mas'ud, may Allah Ta'ala raise his rank, that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam damned the one who consumes the product of riba, serves riba, documents riba, and witnesses it. لعن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم آكل الربا وموكله وكاتبه وشاهديه. Furthermore, riba is of three types. The riba of qard, which is related to loans, the riba of fadl, and the riba of an-nasa. The riba of qard, which is the one related to the loans, is for a person to lend another person money and to make it a condition upon him to pay it back with an extra amount, or with an added condition that generates a benefit to the lender. This is like if he lends a person in need 1,000 silver coins with the condition that he pays him back with an extra 10 or less or more, or to make it a condition upon him not to make any deals with anybody else, or to make it a condition upon him to put his house up for collateral so he can live in it for free or for a discounted price. This is because Allah Ta'ala made borrowing permissible for His slaves to help each other and not to make profit out of it. Another example of that is to lend someone money and make it a condition upon him to drive his car and use it until the loan is paid off. Also, among this kind of riba is to make it a condition that the borrower leaves a watch with him, so if he does not pay back the money in time, he takes it and owns it. So here this is describing what is famously known as interest. And so interest basically means lending someone money, making it a condition for the loan to occur that an extra benefit happens, whether that were for the person giving the loan or whether that were to the person that is getting the loan. But usually, and this is what is called interest. So usually the example or the form that interest takes place is that the person who is lending the money, they're the ones who they stipulate that they get an extra benefit in return, yani for even lending the money, yani for even doing the loan. So for example, the person who's borrowing comes to the lender and says, I want to borrow $1,000. And the lender, he says, I'll let you borrow $1,000 with the condition that you pay me back $1,500. So the lender is stipulating as a part of the contract for the borrower to give him back more money. This is called interest, and this is haram. Yani this is what is called riba al-qard. This is the most famous form of riba. But it doesn't only take this form. Also, for example, if he wants to lend him money, or he wants to borrow money, he says, for example, I want to borrow $1,000. He said, I'll let you borrow $1,000, but with the condition that you sell me the merchandise from your store at 50% off for a month, for example. Or he says, with the condition that you let me live in your rental property for 1 month for free. Or with the condition that you don't buy your merchandise from anybody else. Whatever the case is, if he makes it a condition to receive the loan for an added benefit to occur, whether that added benefit was for the person lending the money or borrowing the money, or both of them, this is called riba al-qard. This is forbidden. This is the most famous form of riba. So the author said, as for riba al-fadl, it is to exchange gold for gold with inequality in weight, or silver for silver with inequality in weight. Likewise, to exchange white wheat for brown wheat with inequality in measure, or white sugar for brown sugar with inequality in quantity, or mountain salt for sea salt with inequality in quantity. Likewise, selling foodstuff for foodstuff or the same kind, foodstuff for foodstuff of the same kind with inequality. Like to exchange a kind of date for a different kind with inequality in quantity, even if one of them were better quality than the other. This is riba. It is forbidden and an enormous sin. And so we talked about riba al-qard, which is interest. It's the most famous one. It's the one that I think almost every Muslim knows about, right? Interest, like the credit card, they give you $5,000 to spend, and they tell you if you don't pay, for example, what you spend every month, then they're going to charge you. So they'll charge you whatever percentage is on your credit card. So this is called interest. When you borrow money from the bank, you borrow $30,000, and they say you have to pay them back $50,000. So this is interest. You buy a car, right? And they say you don't have all the money up front. You only have, let's say, $5,000. You put down $5,000. It takes $5,000 off of the sticker price, and then the rest, they say, we'll lend it to you, but you pay us back, for example, whatever percentage more. Same thing with the house. So this is what is known as interest. This is a type of riba. So not all riba is interest. Not all riba is interest. Some riba is not interest. Some riba is called riba al-fadl. So riba al-fadl is like we explained. The person, he is selling the same type of something, whether it was food or gold and gold or silver and silver. The person is selling the same type of something, like gold for gold, silver for silver, or the same type of food for the same type of food, with the amount being unequal. So this type of riba, riba al-fadl, is specific to three things. Food, yani human food, yani food mostly consumed by humans, gold, and silver. So if somebody wants to sell gold for gold, or silver for silver, or wheat for wheat, for example, or barley for barley, or sugar for sugar, or salt for salt, whatever the food thing is, if they want to do those types of deals, then they have to make sure that the amount that they're exchanging or paying is the same. They have to make sure that if they are buying a pound of gold, they're buying it with a pound of gold. A pound of gold for a pound of gold. It can't be a pound and 1 ounce of gold for a pound of gold. If he's buying a pound of silver, it has to be a pound of silver for a pound of silver. If it's a pound of salt for a pound of salt. A pound of sugar for a pound of sugar. That's how it has to be. Or however those things are measured. For the gold and the silver, they're measured in weight. For the, let's say the wheat, it might be measured in volume. But anyways, the case is, if you're going to buy and sell gold for gold, and you're going to buy gold with gold, or buy silver with silver, or buy food with food, if they're the same type of food, like wheat for wheat, barley for barley, salt for salt, sugar for sugar, dates for dates, for example, these things, they have to be equal. They have to be equal in quantity. If one of them is more than the other, this is called riba al-fadl. This is called riba al-fadl, if they're equal in quantity. The author said, we're on page 203 if you have a copy, the middle of the page. As for riba al-nasa, al-nasa with a fatha on the letter noon. If you have a hard copy, there's a typo, there's a double L. Shawnee, see what's going on over there. And find out where your mom is. So there's a typo, there's an extra L on the word letter, so just take it out. See what's happening over there. They might be in the bathroom over there. So this is called riba an-nasa. An-nasa with a fatha on the letter noon. So it's not riba an-nisa, it's riba an-nasa. So what is this called? What is this defined as? Sophia and Muhammad. Okay. It is exchanging gold for gold with equality in weight, but with delaying exchange until a long time or a short time, or to exchange sugar for sugar with equality in quantity, but with delaying the exchange beyond that session. Also among that is if a person paid a piece of gold to a maker to give him golden jewelry without the weight being equal. This is riba, and the value of the craftsmanship is not taken into consideration according to the shara. So if the maker says, I give you this jewelry and its weight is 10 silver coins, with the condition that you give me this piece which weighs 15 silver coins because of the craftsmanship of my hand, this would be riba. So here the term is an-nasa, and what does an-nasa mean? It means when buying gold for gold or silver for silver or food for food, not exchanging or stipulating for the things not to be exchanged, or for the things to be exchanged in the future. So it means that for this, and for the thing that he wants to buy or what he's paying with, for it to be given at a later time, delaying the exchange. Whether that was a long time or whether that was a short time. So this is called riba an-nasa. So here we give a scenario about how that might happen. Someone paid a piece of gold to a jeweler so that he can make golden jewelry with that without the weight being equal. So this would be considered riba. So if the jeweler says, I give you this jewelry and its weight is 10 silver coins with the condition that you give me this piece which weighs 15 silver coins, because of the craftsmanship of my hand, this would be riba. So that is the example that is given here. Also among the riba is if he gives to the currency exchange a piece of gold that is not cast, so he can give him a number of minted gold coins without equality in weight. This is riba. The proof for the prohibition of that after the verse in the Quran is the saying of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam: الذهب بالذهب الربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والفضة بالفضة الربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والبر بالبر الربا والبر بالبر الربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والشعير بالشعير الربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والتمر بالتمر ربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والملح بالملح ربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد فإذا اختلفت هذه الأجناس فبيعوا كيف شئتم إذا كان يدا بيد. So the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith was explicit when he said, and he explained each type, he explained each kind. He named each kind and he mentioned the conditions for the validity and the scenarios where it would be invalid. So this is what we take these judgments from, we take those rules from, and from the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is an example of when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was explicit in clarifying a rule, or details in clarifying a rule, because he mentioned it, broke it down. And if you notice, the scholars of the Islamic law, they speak like that as well. So he said, الذهب بالذهب ربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والفضة بالفضة ربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والبر بالبر ربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والشعير بالشعير ربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والتمر بالتمر ربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد والملح بالملح ربا إلا مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد فإذا اختلفت هذه الأجناس فبيعوا كيف شئتم إذا كان يدا بيد. So the Prophet ﷺ was explicit. He said, selling gold for gold is riba, except with equality in measurement and no parting before exchanging goods. And that's the meaning of sawa'an bi sawa', equality in measurement, and no parting before exchanging goods, yadan bi yad. And wheat for wheat is riba, except with equality in measurement and no parting before exchanging goods. And barley for barley is riba, except with equality in measurement and no parting before exchanging goods. And dates for dates is riba, except with equality in measurement and no parting before exchanging goods. And salt for salt is riba, except with equality in measurement and no parting before exchanging goods. If there was a difference in kind, then sell however you want, with both exchanging goods in the session. So here the Prophet ﷺ, he clarified in detail how these types of sales should take place, and how if they don't take place in these specific ways, that it's called riba. So that's explicit from the Prophet ﷺ. The saying of the Prophet ﷺ, hence, if these kinds are different, then sell however you want along with mutual exchange, means that if he exchanges gold or silver for gold or silver, or a foodstuff for foodstuff, or a foodstuff for foodstuff, gold for silver, or wheat for barley, or dates for other than dates, or salt for other than salt, that is from a different kind, whatever it may be, it is permissible for it to be with equality or without equality, with the condition that it is with mutual exchange. This means when they exchange the gold for the silver along with the inequality in weight, but without delaying the payment by both parties taking the item before separating, that is, before going their separate ways, it is permissible. So if you're selling gold for silver, since they're not the same exact thing, they can be different quantities, but they have to be exchanged without delay. There has to be the mutual exchange. They have to give each other the goods before parting ways. So that's the condition there that the Prophet ﷺ at the end mentioned, that if there are different kinds, they can still sell it, but they have to give up the goods, exchange the goods before they part ways. The author said, so if they were to exchange a kilo of gold for 1,000 kilos of silver in the session before they separate, this person gave the kilo of gold before they separated, and that one gave the 1,000 kilos of silver in the session before they separated. This is halal and valid because it is with agreement. The selling, if it is not among what Allah made inequality in it forbidden, it is permissible regardless of the inequality. It is not permissible for a person to profit more than half of the capital, or more than the capital, or more than twice the capital, or more than 3 times the capital. So basically there's no cap on the profit margin. So you can sell something that's worth 50 cents for $1 million, as long as it's not gold for gold or silver for silver, or the same kind of food for the same kind of food. It has to be the thing. They have to be different kinds, and if they are gold or silver or food. For other than these, you can sell $1 million for $2 million. And even though it's the same, you're selling dollars for dollars, but because it's not food, because it's not gold or silver, the equality rule doesn't apply in this case. The author said, it is not said in the Islamic law that it is not permissible to make that profit in that in which it is not a condition Islamically for there to be equality between the two items. So, like I just said, if it's in other than gold and silver and food, then there's no condition that both items have to be equal in quantity. It is permissible regardless of how much it amounted to. Whatever the amount of the profit reached, it is valid as long as there was no cheating or lying. One of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ sold something he had bought for 700 for 4,000. And he is Abdullah, the son of Salam, who was the most knowledgeable of the scholars of the Jews before he embraced Islam. Then he gave 2,000 back to the buyer for the sake of Allah. Abdullah, the son of Salam, was among the greatest companions of the Prophet ﷺ. He was one of the companions who was given the good tidings that he will be in paradise, and he is the one who was meant in the verse in Surah Al-Ahqaf, وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّن بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. So it says, شَاهِدٌ مِّن بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ, يعني a witness from the Israelites, and from the children of Israel, and that person that's being referred to in that ayah is Abdullah, the son of Salam. He is Abdullah, the son of Salam. Let me see here. Let me see here. Abdullah. The son of Salam. Here we go. Yes. Abdullah, the son of Salam. He was among the Jews who lived in Al-Madinah. When the Prophet ﷺ came to Al-Madinah, he went to him to confirm that he was the prophet that Musa had given the good news about. Peace be upon Musa and our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam 3 questions, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam answered them. And so he knew that he was truly a prophet. Hence he testified that no one is God except Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Among his questions was that he asked, what is the first meal that the people of paradise will eat? And so the Prophet ﷺ answered him, Ziyadatu kabidil hut, which means an extra part of fish liver. And he asked him, how does the child resemble the father or the mother? And he said, إِذَا سَبَقَ مَاءُ الرَّجُلِ مَاءَ الْمَرْأَةِ ذهب الأب بالشبه وإذا سبق ماء المرأة ماء الرجل ذهبت الأم بالشبه. Which means that if the sexual spermal fluid of the man comes before the corresponding sexual fluid of the woman, then the child resembles the father. And if the sexual fluid of the woman comes before the sexual spermal fluid of the man, then the child resembles the mother. Also he asked him about the first thing that makes people all gather in one place, and he said, أول ما يحشر الناس نار تخرج من المشرق فتسوقهم إلى المغرب. Which means that the first thing that gathers people in one place is a fire that comes from the east and drives people to the west. This is before Judgment Day. Before Judgment Day, a fire appears from the east that drives the people to the west. The people would travel fleeing from that fire to the west. Abdullah, the son of Salam, used to believe that these three questions, no one knows their answer except a prophet. So when the Prophet ﷺ answered him with this answer, he did not have any doubt left that he is a prophet. So this Abdullah, the son of Salam, he was the top scholar amongst the Jews in Al-Madinah. And he had a way to test if Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam really was a prophet. So he did that test, and he asked those questions, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam answered them. And so he believed in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and because nobody other than a prophet would know the answer to those questions. Then the author said, loans were made permissible by Allah so that the people who have wealth can help the person who is in need and in a dire situation. Allah Ta'ala did not make it permissible to be used as a profit-seeking venture. The people today have made loans something to make a profit from. One of them would loan a person who is in need an amount of money with the condition that he pays back an extra amount, or with the condition that he lets him live in his house for free until he pays back the loan. This is in opposition to the loan which Allah made permissible for His slaves. Allah Ta'ala made the loan permissible to make a way out of the difficult situation and to relieve the difficulty of the one in need. Allah did not make the loan permissible so that the person would make a sinful profit from it. This is why the one who lends a person money and makes it a condition that the borrower return the loan with an additional amount has fallen into riba. Likewise, the one who stipulates to use his house to live in until he repays the extra, those people have fallen into a great sin. The dam of Allah will be upon them. They deserve the torture of Allah. As for the one who lends without a condition of adding an extra benefit, without getting an extra benefit for himself, rather he lends to help that person who is in a difficult situation, this person would get reward from Allah. The loan twice in this way is like the reward of one charity. Now the Shaykh rahimahullah, he's mentioning that Allah Ta'ala made lending money permissible as a way for people to help each other, and not as a way for people to make money off of each other. And who are the ones that are experts at making money off of people for loaning money or lending money or borrowing money? It is the Yahud. The Yahud. The Jews. They're the ones who are known for exploiting, giving out loans to people for money and to make money. And who else? And what is the system that makes money that way? The banking system. So you have you have a person that, for example, puts their money in the bank. What does the bank do with that money? If you put in your $1,000, what does the bank do with it? They take 900 of it and they lend it out to people. They take 900 of those $1,000 that you put in the bank and they loan it out to people. And they tell those people, in order for you to get this loan, you have to pay us back, let's say, $200. So they lend 9 people $100, And for each of those 9 people, they tell them you have to pay us back $200. So 200 times 900, how much is that? 200 times 9, how much is that? That's the amount of money back returned to the bank from the $900 that they lent out to people. And where did they get the $900 from? From you. So they didn't even have to have that money themselves. The bank, they didn't even have to get the money themselves and lend it out to people. They have you giving it to them, and then they lend it out to others, and then they charge other people interest, and then they get double or quadruple back on money that's not even theirs. And then when you go to the ATM and you get withdrawal, you want to withdraw some cash, they say, here you go. Here's the $400 that you want to withdraw, that you put in the bank for already. That's what the banks do. This is a big time haram. That is a big time sin. That is a huge, enormous sin. And that is something that is known in Islam. And it's not a secret. So those people, for sure, they are drowning in sin. And they are deserving of the torture in hellfire for that. Na'udhu billah. The author said, so the one who loans a Muslim money twice in the proper way, and he lends him the money not stipulating an extra benefit, and he just lends it to him so he can use it or whatever, and then he doesn't expect extra money, and he does that 2 times, then he gets the reward of 1 charity. And he gets the reward of 1 charity. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. Note, the rules of some of these cases that are related to selling food for food, which were mentioned in this lesson, are according to the school of Imam Muhammad, the son of Idris al-Muttalibi al-Shafi'i. There are different judgments about them in some of the other schools of thought, madhahib, like the school of Imam Malik, the son of Anas. May Allah Ta'ala raise his rank, so be aware of that. So that's just a note, a caution to bring it to your attention, so that if someone wasn't learning the Shafi'i school, they were learning the Maliki school, and they had learned something different, so that they don't get surprised. Lesson 41, the prohibition of al-man and swearing while lying. This lesson was given by the Hafiz, the scholar of Islamic law, Shaykh Abdullah, the son of Muhammad al-Abdari. May Allah Ta'ala have mercy upon him, on the 2nd of Jumad al-Ula in the year 1398 after the Hijrah. And it is about the prohibition of al-man, which is reminding of a charity given with the purpose of breaking the heart of the recipient of the charity, and about swearing while lying. This lesson was heard from him by Shaykh Samir, the son of Sami al-Qadi, and Shaykh Nabil, the son of Muhammad al-Sharif. Shaykh Abdullah, may Allah Ta'ala have vast mercy upon him, said, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. To Him belong the endowments and proper commendations. May Allah Ta'ala raise the rank of our Master Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his Muslim relatives, and protect his nation from that which the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam fears for it. Thereafter, Allah Ta'ala revealed in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ ثُمَّ تُوَفَّى كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. So this is the final verse revealed. This verse is the final verse that was revealed, and it contains the command to fulfill all the obligations and refrain from all the sins. It contains the order to prepare for the hereafter by fulfilling all the obligations and refraining from all the sins. This means fear that great day, the day that you will be judged by Allah. Therefore, Judgment Day is a day where there is no ruler or ruled according to the norm that the slaves know in this worldly life. Rather, Allah is the one who will judge this one and that one without there being a translator. This means that Allah will enable them to hear His speech, which does not resemble the speech of the creations. Those whom Allah accepts, they will hear the speech of Allah, which does not resemble the speech of the creation, and they would be happy and feel content and tranquil. And some of them, God enables them to hear His speech so they know that they are demeaned and that they are not safe and that they are not from the people who have a high status. So the ones who are accepted by Allah, when they hear the speech of Allah, the kalam of Allah, which is not a sound letter or language, they feel happiness and joy. They feel happiness and joy that is indescribable. As for the ones who are not accepted by Allah, they do not feel safe. Rather, they feel a great terror and strong worry that is indescribable. There is a third group, and those are some of the Muslim sinners who will be in a state between the two. Some of the Muslim sinners, they will be in a situation like in between those two situations, of emotion. With this meaning, there is a confirmed, authentic, famous hadith which is narrated, ما منكم من أحد إلا سيكلمه ربه ليس بينه وبينه ترجمان. It means each and every one of you will hear the speech of his Lord without a translator. This standing in which the slave will be judged and hear the speech of Allah is not like the standing of a person in front of a king, in which there would be a distance between him and the king and facing a direction. Rather, it is the standing of the slave to be judged by God in the hereafter without there being a distance between him and God. So the Wahhabis, that's what they think. They think that on Judgment Day, the slave, the creation, he will be standing in front of Allah like a person standing in front of a king. That's what the Wahhabis think. And that's why, one of the reasons why they are kuffar. That's one of the main reasons why they are non-Muslims, because they attribute attributes of the creations to Allah. Allah Ta'ala revealed, ثُمَّ تُوَفَّى كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. This means that Allah will grant each self the recompense for their deeds. If it was good, then good. And if it was evil, they will be punished. Since the situation of the non-Muslims and some others is that they won't be happy when they hear the kalam of Allah, rather they will feel humiliation and worry and terror because of their bad situation, it was expressed about this, what was narrated in the hadith, ثَلَاثَةٌ لَا يُكَلِّمُهُمُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ. The meaning of لَا يُكَلِّمُهُمْ is that they will not be happy on Judgment Day when they hear the speech of Allah, which is not a sound letter or language. And the meaning of لَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ means لَا يُكْرِمُهُمْ. However, God sees all His slaves with an eternal and everlasting sight. The Prophet ﷺ said, ثَلَاثَةٌ لَا يَنْظُرُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَا يُكَلِّمُهُمْ وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ الْمَنَّانُ وَالْمُنْفِقُ سِلْعَتَهُ بِالْحَلِفِ الْكَاذِبِ وَالْفَقِيرُ الْمُتَكَبِّرُ. This means there are three that Allah Ta'ala will not grant them honor, and they will not be happy when they hear His speech, which is not a sound letter or language, and they will have the painful torture. The one who reminds of a charity given with the purpose of breaking the heart of the recipient, the one who swears while lying in order to sell his product, and the arrogant poor person. Subhanallah. Al-Mannan is the man who reminds the other of a goodness that he did for him in order to show that he is higher than him. Na'udhu billah. He would tell him, did I not give you such and such? Did I not do such and such goodness for you, in order to break his heart? This man is sinful, and it is among the enormous sins, and it nullifies the reward. Allah Ta'ala revealed in Surah Al-Baqarah, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى كالذي ينفق ماله رئاء الناس. God likened al-man, reminding another of a charity given in order to break his heart, to insincerity, because both of them nullify the reward. As for the one who swears while lying in order to sell his product, this is also among the enormous sins. However, if he swears while telling the truth in order to sell his product, then he is not sinful. But it is better to leave this out. So if someone was selling a product and they weren't lying, and they swore that that product, let's say, was an original product, it wasn't a knockoff, it wasn't an imitation, it was an original product, and they swore that it was, while telling the truth, this is permissible. It's halal to do that, but it is not recommended. It's better to leave it out. There is no goodness in swearing unless what is wanted from it is to establish the truth or to invalidate falsehood. The swearing that entails reward is like the swearing that the Prophet ﷺ used to swear when he was narrating to his companions something among the religious matters to emphasize that for them. Sometimes he used to say, وَالَّذِي نَفْسُ مُحَمَّدٍ بِيَدِهِ, which means, I swear by the one who controls the soul of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Often he used to say, when he negated something and wanted to emphasize that, La wa muqallibil qulub. It means, no, I swear by the one who changes the hearts. He did this to teach the listeners that he is truthful in what he said without a doubt, and to teach them that the swearing which is like that entails reward, and to teach them that God is the creator of everything. The creations do not create anything. So if the deed of the heart is a creation of God, then the deed of the organs is known, and it is a given that it is a creation of God. Likewise, every swearing that is similar to that, then it is true, and there is reward in it for the one who corrected his intention. Muslim narrated in his Sahih book from Ali, the son of Abu Talib, may Allah Ta'ala raise his rank, that he said, I swear by the one who split the seed and created the soul. Certainly, the Prophet ﷺ, who did not read the written word, has let me know that no one loves me except a believer, and no one hates me except a hypocrite. Imam Ali radiallahu anhu is saying that about himself. He used to often swear by saying this, because what he says after it is the truth in which there is no doubt. The poor arrogant one is mentioned in this hadith. Arrogance is an enormous sin, and it is defined as rejecting the truth from the one who says it. Rejecting the truth from the one who says it, knowing that he is right. Or to look down on a Muslim because he is poor or has a defect or is young or the like. So whoever does that is threatened with punishment from Allah. The Prophet ﷺ dispraised the poor arrogant one because arrogance is ugly for the wealthy and the poor. However, it is uglier combined with poverty, subhanallah. The poor arrogant one is more sinful than the wealthy arrogant one. It is known from this hadith that these three are among the worst people on Judgment Day. Yani the one who tells a person who he gave them charity to, and he reminds them of a person that they gave charity to about that charity to break their heart, or to try to make themselves seem superior to them, is among them. And the one who swears to Allah while lying so that he can sell his product, and the arrogant one. So these are the three that are among the worst people on Judgment Day. Arrogance is a dispraised attribute with the humble one and with other than the humble one. And so it's dispraised to be arrogant towards someone who's arrogant, and it's dispraised to be arrogant towards the one who is humble. Therefore, it is not permissible to say being arrogant to the arrogant is charity. God accepts the Muslim who is humble. And it's contradicting the religion, belying the religion, to say being arrogant to the arrogant one is charity. Allah Ta'ala accepts the Muslim who is humble. Everyone who has a high status to Allah, his attribute is humbleness and leaving out priding oneself. Whoever reflects on the situation of the pious ones among the companions and those who came after them knows they were humble and did not put themselves above others. Imam al-Shafi'i, may Allah Ta'ala raise his rank, despite his great status and honor, he did not use to debate a person while being arrogant with him. Rather, he used to intend when debating to reach for the truth to be shown. From the greatness of his sincerity and his actions, he used to love for his knowledge to spread without showing himself, without being known by it, so people would not aggrandize him. Rather, his and Allah Ta'ala knows best. We'll stop there. That was lesson 40 and 41. Now we reach to lesson 42. And the topic of that lesson is warning against taking the awliya as enemies. As you can see, we only have this much left. We're near the end. I think there are 62 lessons in this volume, and then we'll see, inshallah, what we do after that. There's volume 2 and volume 3 also of this book. So, yeah, there's 62 lessons in this one. Naam, Jahizun. Yeah, we send the link, twaybabooks.com. You can order it. It'll be delivered right to your door, inshallah. If there are no questions, we'll conclude. Because what? For the book. No. So someone was asking if there is a situation where a person can remind another person of a charity that they gave them, but not with the intention of breaking their heart, rather to remind them because of them being ungrateful. So the only scenario that I know is if you help someone, you lent them money or you gave them a gift or you helped them in some way, and then sometime later, years later, let's say, that person was doing injustice to you. So they were harming you in your body, or they were talking bad about you or something, there was a conflict and that person was doing injustice to you. So if you told that person, you do this to me after, let's say, I helped you, for example, to deter him from harming you and to try to soften his heart, or to try to make him realize that he shouldn't be doing injustice to you, because you did good to him, so they shouldn't be doing bad to you. To do it in that case is not called al-man. This is not called al-man. That's not the thing that nullifies the reward and is an enormous sin. No. That's a different case. So the man that we're talking about is reminding someone of something that you did for them to break their heart.